That's on.
As if.
Hello, how are you? So good to see you. I barely recognise some of you because you look so good outside of your school uniform. So it's great. It's so nice to be here. How are you going? Well? Yes? Okay, well I'm just going to speak to you for a little while. I'm not going to keep it too long because I know how short some of your attention spans are. Because I do teach some of you, so it's okay. And I just want to just tell you about a little bit of a story. So this one time, this was a few years back, and I was on this date with this guy. I know. He was kind of looking. Wait till you hear what happened. And this would go down in history. It was starting off like the perfect date in history. We were at this restaurant, and it was romantic, and there were candles, and the glowing candlelight, and romantic music playing, and it was just perfect, and we were just staring into each other's eyes lovingly, and then all of a sudden, he just let out this massive fart. And I was and I didn't know what to do, because it wasn't like one of those little farts, whoop, where you kind of just think, okay, maybe that was the chair. It was come out of his bottom. It was really bad. And I was sitting there thinking, do I say something? Do I not say something? Do I mention the smell? What do I do in this situation? Do I get up and walk out? Or do I give him another chance? I just had no idea what to do. I'd never been in a situation like that before. Has anyone been in a situation like that before? One person, a couple of people. This is good. I'm glad I'm not alone. Maybe guys do this on dates. I'm not sure. It had never happened to me since. It was really just freaked me out. And I think sometimes we just get these situations where we find some things weird things happen, or people do things that are just weird and they just make you think, what's going on? Like my year 9 boys, some of whom are here tonight, who like to touch each other's nipples in class. Why do year 9 boys do this? I don't understand why they do this. I'm not going to name any names over there, but I don't understand it. Sometimes I kind of think, what do I do? Do I get angry about it? Do I send them out? Do I give them another chance and say, boys, please don't touch each other's nipples? And you kind of just have to go with things and just think, okay, well, you can get another chance for that. I mean, it's not so serious. And you just kind of keep going. But then there are more serious issues, or ones where you stuff up and you need other people to give you another chance. Like this one time when I was learning how to drive. Yes, Call of Duty is often mentioned in my year 9 English class. Thanks for bringing it up tonight. So one time I was learning how to drive, and I was driving in my stepdad's brand new convertible car. And it was nice and white and shiny, and he thought it would be okay because he took me to this big car park, and there was nothing in this car park except for one solitary little lonely tree in the middle. Well, I managed to crash that car into that one lonely solitary tree, and I just smashed up this car. It was so bad. It was I'd only been driving for a week. And it was terrible, and I got into so much trouble. I was just busted. And then there are other things that you do. When I was in high school, I wasn't a very nice person. I was actually really mean to people. And I used to really, really hurt people, and I would bully them. And there were some girls who actually left our school because my friends and I were so mean to them, And that's how horrible I was, And it was a really, and I had to really just learn how to cope with that because I was stuffed up, I messed up and I made mistakes. And I think we're all like that. We all tend to make mistakes. Who here hasn't made a mistake before? Yeah. I totally don't believe you. Okay. So turn to the person sitting next to you and say, you're pretty stuffed up. Yeah. And turn to the person on the other side of you now and say, it's okay, I'm stuffed up too. So we're all pretty stuffed up. Guys, so I'm going to head into a story now, and I really think, if I can have your attention, that there was only one person on the face of the planet that has ever been perfect, and it's not this guy down here who thinks that it was him. It's not you back there either, okay? Or Link, sorry, it's not you. But you know who it was? It was Jesus Christ. Person who's ever been perfect, and that's because he was the Son of God, the human form of God. And the people that he hung out with, which is what I love about Jesus, were the most imperfect people. So let's have a look at this first slide. And I'm going to be using the Manga Bible tonight because I don't think we quote enough from it in church. And I like pictures, so we're going to use it. So these are like his 12 closest followers, and these are the first people that ever followed Christ. And like these guys were just young guys, okay? And they were just like normal people, just like you and me. And they were messed up. They made so many mistakes. And you had people in there that were like Peter. And Peter was just a complete tool at times. And he would just like say the most inappropriate things at the most inappropriate times. He could not open his mouth without putting his foot in it. And then you had people in there like John and James. And they were nicknamed Sons of Thunder. Okay, and that's not because it was like some bikie gang or something like that. They were Sons of Thunder because they had bad tempers. So they were known as the bad-tempered ones. They always lost their temper and just got really cranky. And then you've got people like Simon, and Simon was known as a zealot. Okay, and that means that he used to try to overthrow the government by force. He was practically a terrorist, okay? And he was like this follower of Jesus. You know, one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. And that's what he did, but he hung out with Jesus. He was a follower of Jesus. And so these people just aren't like, they're not like good people. They were good people, but they're not perfect people. They were messed up. You had people like Thomas, who didn't believe anything that anyone said. And then you've got people like Judas, who was, let's face it, just a bit of a backstabbing jerk, you know? So, I mean, these aren't people that are perfect, and that's the beautiful thing, I think, about following Christ, is that you don't actually have to be perfect to follow him. He's not looking for perfection. And I just want to tell you the story about Peter, because Peter is one of my favourite people in the Bible, because he was just so messed up. And this evening, they're all having dinner, like Jesus and his friends, they're all having dinner together. And it's called the Last Supper. Some people might have heard of this story before. And it's on the night where Jesus was actually killed. So they're all sitting around having dinner. And Jesus says to them, before the night is over, one of you is going to betray me. And Peter, you're going to deny that you know me. And Peter's like, no way. I'm not that sort of guy. I would never do that to one of my mates, ever. And let's just have a look at what the scripture says. It says, Peter broke in, even if everyone else falls to pieces on account of you, I won't. Don't be so sure, Jesus said. This very night before the rooster crows up the dawn, you will deny me 3 times. And Peter's like, nah. How does it go down in the manga version? Do we have that? Is it the next slide? Oh, you're so good. All right, we'll go to this one later. Okay, so it's just, he's so sure that he is not going to betray Jesus. He's so certain that he's not going to be that sort of person. And I think sometimes we can be like that, we think I'm going to get this right. I'm going to get this whole following Christ thing right. And I'm not going to betray Jesus, and I'm going to continue to follow him. But Peter just stuffs up in the most incredible way. So we'll have a look here, this is great. So they're standing out there and they go, hey, and Jesus has just been arrested, right? And he's about to be hung on this cross. And Peter knows that this is going to happen. And he, people are saying to him, you were the guy that was with Jesus. And Peter is gulp, no, it wasn't me, I wasn't with him. We'll go to the next slide. Cool, thank you. Pretty cool cartoon. And all this time that people are saying to Peter, no, you were with Jesus, you're one of his mates, we need to arrest you, we need to get you. And Peter is no, I want to save my own butt. No, I don't know who Jesus is. I don't know who he is. The whole time. And he's totally denied his friend. And I just want us to think about this for a second, because Jesus was one of Peter's best friends. Yeah, he was one of Jesus' first followers. And when Jesus needed him most, and I mean, let's not beat about the bush here. Someone had betrayed Jesus in their friendship group. Jesus then got arrested. So just imagine one of your friends getting arrested, yeah? And then they put a cross on his back, and he had to carry this really heavy cross. And then they whipped him. They whipped him so much that pieces of his flesh came off his body, yeah? Then they got thorns and they shoved it into his skull. And then they nailed his wrists. They put nails through his wrists and hung him on a cross. And what did Peter do? Peter was I don't know him. And that's a really heavy thing, I think. I mean, you could talk about ditching your friends when they need you the most, hey? And Peter totally did that. But the really cool thing about Jesus is that how he responded to Peter afterwards. Peter was so sorry about this. And he knew he'd just messed up. But Jesus was it's cool. I love you anyway. I still love you. Because we all mess up sometimes. And how much are we like Peter at times? How many of us sometimes come on a Friday and we listen to this message and we think, yeah, I'm gonna do things differently this week. I might not lie to my parents as much, or I might give this a go, I might be nicer to this person.